The biggest difference between being a PA and a physician is in the salary. It's something most people don't realize. The title of this video is True, I've been considering going to medical school. One of the questions I get asked is, when are you going to complete your career and go to medical school to become a doctor? And I have to explain to my patients how physician assistant is a full career. There is no continuation to medical school unless some people desire to do that. So it's really got me thinking, do I want to do that? And by the end of the video, I'm going to explain a couple of reasons why that has been the case. For one, I'm obviously not in the room between patients and physicians, but when I'm in the room between patients and myself as a PA, there's times where the respect is lacking. And I'm talking mostly about instances where I'm unable to prescribe class 1 or class 2 prescriptions, controlled medications of some degree, because in the state of Texas, I'm not allowed. I don't feel disrespected, but I have encountered situations where patients become angry at me because I can't prescribe or I can't help right away. And all the instances I can think of where that's happened is with controlled substances, which, saying, hey, in the state of Texas, I can't prescribe XYZ has saved me from very difficult situations and difficult patients. I can't help but feel some sort of defeated when those words come out of my mouth because I know that I'm not helping. Number two is physicians do have the highest level of degree and independent medical decision making. This means that they've had a lot more education, a lot more training, a lot more years of experience to encounter difficult situations or ways that they can manage a situation different just because of their experience. Sometimes that extensive education just allows a deeper understanding of the diagnoses, the treatment, and can come up with plans and options a lot more readily than maybe PAs that obviously have had smaller training amounts unless they are a well-experienced PA, which means that what I'm doing is receiving this education and exposure through being in the field already. And although that doesn't disqualify me, it kind of slows me down because I have to take a step back on something that I may not know very well, or diagnoses that are really hard to diagnose or identify, and do my research before I feel confidently in treating my patient with the next appropriate steps. But it also comes with being a new PA. I've been practicing for 4 years, and my repertoire of skills, history taking, treatment, has grown, but I think it's mostly from that experience. Had I gone into the field with all that experience already under my belt, then I think the stress of performing well wouldn't have been as heavy on me. I think that the learning curve for physician assistants is very steep, and if you're a new grad PA, they will tell you this in your first job about how much you learn just from being in the field. I don't believe that this learning curve for MDs or DOs is that steep for that reason. Number 3 is leadership opportunities. A lot of MDs serve as medical board directors, chief officers, department chairs, researchers. A lot of those roles are limited as a PA. And even though I feel like I work for a company that nurtures the leadership in physician assistants and nurse practitioners, it's just those higher levels of titles that physician assistants are limited just because of that degree. But I do see a lot of PAs and NPs very highly involved and part of the executive team having a PA and NP degree. It also comes with experience, leadership, boldness, and years of experience. Number 4, and I think the one that most PA students that were pre-med struggle with the most, like me, is that personal fulfillment. Something that we felt called for, something that we grew up believing of becoming a physician as a lifelong dream. But something I strongly still feel as a physician assistant is that I am called for. I am called to do healthcare. I am called to treat patients, give them the best of care and attention, and listen to their healthcare problems. The calling of helping and serving your community, honestly, does not change. Honestly, does not change. And this might be a hot take, but I think that when we are so stuck on those letters after my name without realizing the bigger and greater impact that you're really there to do, I call that ego. I would love to hear your take. If you are a PA, NP, MD, DO, leave your comments down below. Let me know what are your takes on that. Point number 5 is that physicians generally earn substantially more, but primarily in specialty fields, or compensation structure. Some clinics may decide to compensate their providers with bonuses and percentages of productivity. And when NMD sees the same number of patients as a PA&P, their compensation may be very similar if that structure is there based on percentages, productivity, or bonuses. These earnings can be potentially weighed on years of experience. So maybe an MD can have more years of experience than a new grad PA, but the same thing goes for experienced PAs and new PAs. The third example is that I've actually seen experienced PAs earn more than new grad doctors. Point number 6, and the last one, which has honestly come up a lot more recently, is that in the state of Texas, PAs cannot own a medical clinic as a business owner. What that means for me is that I would have to become an MD or collaborate with a physician, which is something that we already have to do in the state of Texas. We have to have a collaborating physician, a supervising MD, same concept. It would just be someone that I would be entering business with as a partnership. But honestly, for all the reasons that I would want to become an MD, in my head, they have to outweigh the good things about being a PA. And that is, do I want to take 4 years to go to medical school and 2 to 3 years of family medicine residency? Once I do those 3 years of residency and I become an MD, I can't really change specialties, but as a PA, I can. Who knows? Maybe I'll decide to be a dermatology PA, maybe a GI PA. I feel like in the traditional medicine world, let's be honest, I don't think that would happen. But a functional medicine PA, I mean, the possibilities are endless. I will say I have a great work-life balance. One is that as a PA, I don't have to supervise any other professional. And what that leads me with is less work, less charts to review. I know my supervising physician has to review some of my chart. And so the stress of having responsibility for someone else who you may not know their experience and their values, they may not be a great provider. You may not know their knowledge. They may not know what they're doing. Honestly, it's a little scary. And I say this because I've seen incompetent PAs and NPs. Going to medical school would also mean having more debt, as if what I have is not enough. And let me just go back to the lifelong dream, is that my ability to provide high quality care is not hindered by my degree. Yes, there's a lot of things that I cannot do, and I think that this is just goes to show that my career is just one aspect of who I am as an individual. That healthcare does not totally define me, and that I do have the room to do more and be here sitting with you guys. One of my other passions in life is to educate people and help them make informative decisions for themselves, for their health, maybe even learn how to be an advocate for themselves or others in their family. So I'm here to tell you, if you've ever felt dismissed, confused, or overwhelmed by diagnoses, lost in the healthcare system, this channel is for you. I am a PA who's also been a patient and a clinician, and I'm here to tell you the real version of what happens inside the system. Don't forget to like and follow, stay healthy, stay educated. See you on the next one.